Hey, Snap Tribe! Welcome back to Pearle Snapp Tarot. Decided to make a car video on New Year's Eve. Update you about the inside of my car. I cleaned it out. I did. I cleaned it and I tore down that old fabric on the ceiling that was, I just ripped it the hell out of there. So look at that. It's it's still crappy, but it's a different kind of crappy. It's like, I don't know, it's tidy crappy or something. So we're driving around at our favorite park. This is, I forget the name of this park, but I've showed you this place before. It's up against the foothills in Alamogordo, and over there you can see the lady in the mountain. She's known. See that face there? And then going back into the distance, there's a bunch of sphinxes. I hope I'm getting them because I don't know what's going on. Anyway, all right. I am in the process of New Year's cleaning at my house. I'm trying to throw away, like paperwork from the year that I don't need anymore, like old bills and stuff, and cleaning out everything and getting ready to have a sale, like a yard sale type thing, to get rid of other stuff I don't want. Decluttering, that's what I've been doing, decluttering. Year-end decluttering. I've been doing that. And I've been starting and stopping on it's a lot of work. It's a lot. It's really a lot, because when I moved into this house that I got in March of this year, I never really decluttered my own stuff. What happened was, I think I've told you this story in a couple of other videos, that it was a big year for me. I suddenly inherited a home that was a few blocks away from where I was living before, in this horrible low-income housing, where I was being bullied, stalked, harassed, and poisoned and stuff for 5 years. Almost 5 years. And that saved me from that situation. And the person who died was an abuser to me. And once upon a time, I had asked him if he would just leave me his house. I said to him one day, do something for me, anything. He said, okay. And so he deeded this home to me. And then after that, and that happened like 6 or 7 years ago that he did that, we never spoke of it again. He never said another word about it. And so when he died, I didn't know whether or not I was going to get the house, and so I didn't say anything. And I heard through the grapevine that he had died in February. And I went over to his house, and his brothers were there, like cleaning everything out of the house and selling it and stuff. And they had the dog that he and I shared, Spud. His brother took the dog and wouldn't let me keep the dog. That really killed me. That made me really, really sad. And I went to the funeral, okay? And the funeral was at this Catholic church when he was growing up, and it was an open casket funeral, and the casket was right there when you came in the door. It was right there, right in your face, and I was so shocked by it. I didn't look very hard, but the one look I got at it, it didn't look like, I want to say that. I want to get that on. It didn't look like him. I don't know, but I didn't want to go look too close or too hard or too long or be rude or anything, so I just took a quick look and I went into the church. And then I saw his brothers in there and said hello to one of them, who acted like he didn't know who I was. I don't know why he acted like that, but he seemed surprised to see me, or surprised when I was there, that I was there. And the same brother started stalking me after I got the house. He's still doing that. He was by just a few weeks ago again. Anyway, I am planning to make a few Christmas themed videos for you, and they'll be coming out probably the first ones on New Year's Day and through the week. So if you're still on vacation, that'll be something for you to watch for your entertainment. They're going to be a little different from last year's stocking stuffers. They're a little different, and the reason I'm at the park here is because I went out to take a few pictures around town of stuff to use for thumbnail covers for these videos. Some pictures of Christmas time in Alamogordo. Yesterday I went downtown to see the new downtown area that's been recently reopened. They were tearing up the street and repaving it and stuff for like a really long time. I can't believe how long it took for them to do that job. They finally reopened it recently, so I didn't go to any grand openings or anything like that. I kind of waited for everything to die down after Christmas, and I went over there yesterday and was just kind of walking down the street to see what was there. And it was like they did this really big job doing over the streets and the concrete and the curbs and everything, but it's still the same old bunch of weird little stores, and I don't know, there's really nothing there. It's like a whole lot of nothing. There's a restaurant there, and there was one new coffee shop. Okay, when I went inside, it was really downbeat in there. It was just, you think in a coffee shop at Christmas time they might have some music on or something, but it was just dead in there. Very quiet, and there was only a couple people sitting there playing a game or something. They had games you could play, and like board games. They had some shelves with board games. And it was a big area with a lot of seating, but there were only 2 people in there. And so I walked all the way to the back where I saw you could order food and coffee and stuff, and I took a look at what they had. They had a pastry case, and they had a glass dome with croissant under it. I love croissant. Oh my God. And there was one guy in the back, you could see him. He was prepping some food or something. And so I stood there and I thought, gee, I shouldn't do this because I'm trying to lose that weight I gained back. But I decided to get a treat. And so I stood there and waited. And there was one other lady waiting. So while we were waiting, I kind of struck up a conversation with her, and we talked for like a really long time, maybe like 20 minutes and this guy never came out. He never came out to say, can I help you? Or I'll be right with you or anything. He just kept on working back there. And it was like, he didn't care if he helped us or not. I don't know. I've worked in the restaurants and stuff, and the policy is always, if there's someone standing there, you go and greet them and you help them. And if you have something else to do, you put that to the side for a second while you take their order or something, just so people can, feel like they're being taken care of. He never did that. He didn't care. And that's so typical for here. I call it the waiting game, and I think it's an energy harvesting ploy. Anyway, I started talking to this woman, and it turned out she was from out of town, and her husband was working here in town, and I hate my chin waddle. I'm not going to let you see it. She told me that she was just kind of kicking around town trying to get to know what was in town, and because they might move there. And so I really had to bite my tongue. I didn't want to be too negative, because I thought, well, she deserves a chance to look around and decide for herself. I don't want to, poop it up for her, so I didn't. I was polite about it, and I answered a few questions that she had, and then we talked about what do you do and what do you do and all that jazz. Anyway, so we finally, after we'd been there 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I don't know, it was going on a half hour probably, and I looked at this lady and I said, I think I've waited long enough. It was after she and I looked at everything in the pastry case together and talked about, ooh, wouldn't you like one of those? And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe one of those. Or, ooh, they had lemon bars. I love lemon bars. And they had cupcakes and, like I said, croissants. And I was going to get a croissant. And finally, I said, you know what? We've been waiting a long time. And I said, I don't feel like waiting anymore. I think I've overcome the temptation. And I'm going to be going. Good luck. And she said, oh, I'll go with you. She got right. She was like, it was like she was glad I said that. She was like, yeah, let's get out of here, before we eat anything, So we did. We left. And we walked down the rest of the street together, and we were looking in the store windows, and we got in front of the store that sells all this crystals and occult stuff. And she said, what's that place? And I said, oh, that's the local witchcraft supply store. I said, there's a lot of people that are interested in witchcraft here in Alamogordo, I said, and you might want to be careful of them. And she looked at me and she said, oh yeah, I know what you mean. She said, somebody else told me that too. And she said, they're real sneaky about who they are, and they don't tell you who they are. But I noticed she was all dressed in black and white. Anyway, I was dressed in blue and white, and now that I think about it, and I just said, oh, okay, yeah, well, just you want to be careful around those people, watch your step. And by that time, we were at the end of the street, and we parted ways, and I wished her good luck. And I walked back to my car and went home. So that was an interesting encounter. But, a butterfly. I just saw a butterfly out there. A little white butterfly under a dome where I'm constantly watched, stalked. All my devices are hacked. My phone is hacked. I constantly get spam calls all the time on my brand new phone. Well, it's a few months old now, but it's terrible. It's really terrible. So I can't quite figure out what's going on. Am I like the star under the dome that everybody here is watching and tracking and experimenting on? Is it me? Is it just me, or is it other people? I don't know. Meanwhile, news is breaking loose. Things are starting to shake up a little bit, and I told you that I was hit with a big DO attack on me in my home around Veterans Day, and there was some weird stuff in a local publication about a Veterans Day parade that didn't happen, and they ran 3 different blurbs about a Veterans Day parade that the 3 blurbs all said different things about when this parade was going to be. 3 different dates, and I kept looking, and I didn't believe there was a parade because I never saw one. I didn't go there and try to see it, but I just didn't believe it. I didn't believe it because the street where they usually line up and get ready for parades in town was still closed off.
I called them out in their publication and comments, and they got mad at me. And I said I got screenshots, and they threatened to sue me. They threatened to sue me.
Irrigation ditch, or the storm ditch, and that's another project that's taking way too long. They've been doing all these infrastructure projects here in town, and they all are taking way too long, in my opinion. I can't figure out why they're taking so long. And at the same time, they put up those flock cameras too all over town. So I think that one has something to do with the other. Personally, my theory is they've been doing maybe some kind of investigation about what's going on in this town, because I think there's a lot of organized crime here. And so I think they've been seeing who's coming and going for a long time while simultaneously blocking off key streets for long periods of time. Okay, I told you that downtown street was blocked off for a long time. Well, they dug it up and reconcreted it and repaved it and everything. It was down for a long time. Excuse me. And so was a key street that ran east and west, and a strategic bridge that runs over that runoff ditch. That was down for a long time too, right about when those flock cameras went up. So I think everything's being checked out kind of on the sly here. I really do. And now news is leaking out about people getting indicted on. There was somebody that worked for a healthcare company here in town was just indicted on felony charges for some kind of fraud or something. So that's kind of stuff is starting to, become visible here now too. Like that kind of stuff has been going on all over the country, and it's been going on here too, and I thought so. So now stories about it are leaking out. So things are getting interesting here in Alamogordo. Happy New Year, and that's my personal update for now, with a little bit of this and that about Alamogordo. And now I'm going to go take the rest of my photographs of Christmas time in Alamogordo. And I'll be back with you this coming week. All right. Thank you for visiting again, and I hope you'll come back again. Okay. Adios. Bye. Vamoose. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. Da 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 da, ba ba da da da.